cintyamāno'pi cintārūpaṃ bhajatyasau tyaktvā tadbhāvanaṃ tasmādevamevāhamāsthitaḥ. Thinking on the unthinkable one resorts only to a form here is form imagined by one's own thought. Therefore, giving up even that thought, thus do I indeed abide in myself. Perceiving is through body, feeling is through mind, and thinking is through intellect. Any thinking is possible only about the objects that are there in this creation, including one's own nature at BMI level. Self is subtler than intellect. Self is the source which illumines the intellect. Therefore, it is impossible for a grosser intellect to think of the subtlest self which has empowered the intellect to think. In the Kenopanishad, the Guru did not say that self is the one which empowers the mind to think, the mouth to speak, the eyes to see, the ears to hear. Rather, the disciple is told, without telling that it is Brahman or self, he is told that it is the eye of the eye, ear of the ear, mind of the mind, speech of the speech, so that even by mistake, he does not think of self as something that can be seen, heard, spoken, thought by his limited faculties, eyes, ears, speech, mind. Because when he is told that that is eye of the eye, so it is eye of the physical eye. So the disciple has to rule out the physical eye, physical ear, physical mind, physical intellect to be self, because already it has been told that that is eye of the physical eye, means something other than the physical eye, something other than the physical intellect. To reach mind of the mind, the self, one must leave the mind which comes later, that is the grosser mind, mind of the physical mind, means physical mind has to be left to reach to the mind of the physical mind. Similarly, it applies to intellect, where one must transcend intellect to experience Atman or self, not by thinking about self with intellect. Howsoever one tries to use his intellect or mind to comprehend the self, that is thinking of the unthinkable, one will end up perceiving or visualizing or thinking only something outside his self, because, as told earlier, the perceiving senses can go only outside. They can perceive only things which are other than self. They can perceive only objects. One can only visualize some light, some sound, some kind of a form when one's mind somehow gets involved while one meditates. And anything that is experienced cannot be self. Even when at a subtler level in meditation, one feels, I am experiencing something unique. I am experiencing something which is elaborated in Upanishads as Brahman. It is more often his limited intellect which is conveying to him that he is experiencing something unique. And in this thought, the mind is involved in affirming such a thing. In the Taittiriya Upanishad Brahmanandavalli, where Brahman for the first time was expressed as Satyam Jnanam Anantam, still, when one transcends mind, intellect, and awareness of self, then there are no such definitions or nature which can be experienced. One can neither experience pure causeless existence Satyam, pure awareness Jnanam, and infinite space Anantam. It is just silence without any expression that it is silence in that state. This verse confirms this thoughtless state. All the realized yogis and masters have existed like at this thoughtless state. If in those moments of thoughtless, objectless awareness of the masters, if they were to be physically shaken up and asked to describe their state, no words would ever come out. They would just smile and be silent. Upanishads have all emerged from these sages at that state only out of pure compassion, by using whatever best expression possible in limited finite language. If such expressions, finite expressions, emerging as Upanishad itself is so absorbing, then imagine their actual state, which can never be expressed at all. Acharya quotes a verse in Bhagavad Gita. In the 13th chapter, 15th verse, Sukshmavat tat vijneyam Because of its subtlety, it is ever incomprehensible. To reflect and contemplate upon the self, which is unthinkable, is itself again a play of our thoughts, which we have dealt already. In the early stages of sadhana, this method is valid, as all our other restlessness of the intellect gets quietened by thought of the unthinkable. But to one who has already exploded into the highest plane of consciousness and who is living vividly the experience of the infinite self, for him to sit and to contemplate upon the thinkable is to come upon the unthinkable is to come out of the thoughtless state into the restlessness of the thought. Therefore, says Janaka, giving up that thought, that is, giving up the thought of thinking about the unthinkable, I indeed abide in myself. Hari Om Tat Sat.